Next time they ask me to jump up, I'm going to go, no!
That'd be awesome.
It's the Scott and Allie Not for Air podcast. The rules are gone. The shirt is untucked. Here's Scott and Allie.
Allie and I was just telling her as we get ready to start the podcast here, we just got finished with like I'm sure there's going to be another hottest stretches, like this heat dome that's set over the entire area where we are.
Yep.
And I told Allie, I said, maybe we should do a podcast one of these days by your pool and we could just sip on a Mai Tai.
Yes.
And then I thought to myself, I'm like, I've never had a Mai Tai. I need to know what's in a Mai Tai.
Yeah, what is it? Hold on a second. I'll Google it. You're Googling it? Okay.
Is it M-I?
M-A-I-T-A-I.
T-A.
I've had one. I went to Hawaii with my family when I was 15 years old, and we went to one of those luau's where they have the big pig and the dancers and all that stuff. I remember drinking a Mai Tai, a virgin Mai Tai there. Now, my 15-year-old self loved it.
Yeah.
But I also think I was like, this is risky.
Look at me.
It looks like I'm drinking an alcoholic drink.
All right. According to this one, according to the Google version of it, it's 1.5 ounces of white rum. There's a lot of rum in this.
Okay.
1.5 ounces of white rum, half an ounce of orange Caraco. Okay. 3/4 of an ounce of dark rum, half an ounce of fresh lime juice, and half an ounce of orgeat syrup. Orgeat syrup?
I don't think I would like this. I don't like sweet stuff like that.
Oh, this is definitely sweet.
Yeah, no thanks.
Oh, here it is. What is orgeat syrup made of, or orgeat? It's O-R, how do you say this? O-R-G-E-A-T.
O-R-G-E-A. Orgeat?
Orgeat.
I don't know.
It's a base of almonds sweetened with sugar and mixed with flavoring like citrus and floral essence like rose water and orange extract.
That sounds so good.
All right.
Maybe I would like a Mai Tai. I changed my mind.
Orgeat.
Then let's do it. Let's do Pool Day Podcast.
Pool Day Podcast Mai Tai.
Our pool cast.
Oh, I love a pool cast.
So speaking of, okay. You can only pick one.
Oh, all right.
Are you this really doesn't have to do with the pool at all, but because I'm like your pool friend now. Are you the spa friend, the concert friend, the brunch friend, or the travel friend?
I could be the travel friend first, brunch friend second. I'm not good as a concert friend because I don't know what to do with my body at a concert.
Oh, and you got me into the next thing so well.
This is how we segue.
Let me tell you what I am first. I am concert friend first. I think I am the one that concert. This is so tough. This is so tough.
I know, right?
I think that I'm concert friend first. Number one, in our industry, we get tickets.
But sometimes, yeah.
So, and I love going to concerts. It's one of my favorite things. This is something that I always grew up doing as like a thing. Like, I lived in a city where it was a thing. It was like, you go bowling or you go to a concert.
Yeah. And I get concert anxiety because I don't know what to do with my body.
Okay. Then I will tell you the next thing.
Okay.
I hate when I am at a concert and say it's like general admission that you're in the standing section.
Yeah.
I hate when the band will go, everybody jump up and down. I am not flopping my titties around. No. Stop it. Stop asking me to jump up and down at the concert because then everybody's jumping up and down. And I'm like,
in a House of Pain concert?
No, you
jump around.
It's so funny. How many, you're not going to get this at like Adele. But
no, you are not.
But if you're at, I'm trying to think. Say you're at, I don't even know, a concert that would be like a current artist that would have Bruno Mars, okay? Bruno Mars has got a song that it's like, bum, 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 bum,
And he's like, jump around.
And he's like, jump up and down. Or he'll be like, jump up, everybody jump up their feet.
I didn't pay $75 a ticket for Simon fucking Says.
Well, the other thing is whenever they do this, all I do is I get on my tippy toes.
I know the move. I
just
know
kind of like
the move.
Up and down.
Yup. You're kind of just, you're not jumping. You're just doot with your feet.
Right. I'm just clapping on the balls of my feet. I'm like, yeah, here we go. Okay.
I know exactly what you mean. Yes.
Do not ask me to jump up up and down.
That's fun. I've never been at a show where they've asked that, but
I've
that's
been
awesome.
to so many shows.
Really?
Yes. I think because, number one, I'm not your arena concert friend. I am too cheap. First of all.
Yes, yeah.
I mean, I've gone to arenas. I've seen, I saw Fleetwood Mac at an arena. I saw David Bowie at an arena. Like, yes, I will go to them, but I do not like arena shows. I like something a little bit more personal, something where there would be maybe, I like my music a little hard.
Okay.
Yes. So that's where it's a common occurrence. I might see it like
when
Finger Death Punch, and they're like, jump up. And I'm like, no.
That's one that would do it.
Next time they ask me to jump up, I'm going to go, no.
That'd be awesome. Well, when you were at Alanis, you said you're not an arena concert person. I mean, that was an amphitheater, but
yeah.
Okay, so I guess in the hierarchy of concerts, you have arena. An arena could be a football field, or it could be wherever indoor hockey's played, things like that.
Saw Garth at Heinz Field.
Okay, so
Arena.
you have either outdoor arena or that. So there's your arena standing. So amphitheater would be where you saw like Alanis. Not quite as many people as the arena, but still pretty busy, pretty
I'll
packed
tell you what
out.
Alanis wasn't asking me to do.
Jump up and down?
Jump up and down.
Oh, ain't that ironic? Little Alanis joke for you.
And she wouldn't. Why? She's a female. Females are not
Females
gonna be,
know females.
Yeah, they know. We're not slapping ourselves with these fun bags. Now,
Damn.
every man that you go to a concert, jump up and okay, I'm over it.
Yeah, right. It sounds to me like it's the evolution of the, hey, can you touch your elbows behind your back? Did you ever get that in school?
Oh, yes.
It's to project the titties.
Yes. I almost just did it too. Dang it.
Saw your arm move. I'm like, don't.
I'm such a sucker. But I remember.
Oh, hey, Allie, jump up and down.
And another one was, can you put your arms behind your back and touch your right hand to your left elbow?
Was that like
I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah, stop. Was this a more refined way of saying, let's project them boobies?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Yeah.
Although when I was younger.
All the tricks when we were young.
I know. But when you're younger too, like thinking of my younger days, those mosquito bites, like what? I mean, I did blossom early in life. So I don't have small tatas, but I look back at pictures and first of all, I didn't know how to wear a good bra. So all you're really getting is it's just the worst looking boob. But I guess you're conditioned from a young age to love boobs, right? You're not a boob guy, are you?
No, I'm not. I'm not a boob guy. In fact, I'm good with smallies. But I kind of, what makes me, I think for guys, I think we're conditioned because,
they are fun.
Well, they are, but they were also a source of nutrients for girls too. I don't know.
There's
why.
nothing wrong with liking boobs. I'm just saying it's so funny, the little tricks that that young boys would do. Already at a young age, you're like, show me them titties.
Gonna be able to see them.
Yeah, exactly. How old were you when you first saw a boob?
Oh God, I don't know. I don't remember when seeing my first boob. I just remember, oh God, I must have been in 9th grade, and the year Planes, Trains, and Automobiles came out. I will never forget, we had a row of the theater. So it was all my early high school friends. It was Rob, it was Jeremy, it was Sean, and most everybody had dates with them. And I'll never forget, I was dating this girl, Jenny Lyons. And man,
and man, did her chest roar.
Huge cans for
huge sweater kittens.
Oh my Lord. And I didn't know.
I hope she finds this
sweater
podcast.
Kittens.
I hope she finds this podcast so bad.
But the funny part about it is I didn't know what to do with them. I was in my sweaty holding your hand phase of life,
Right,
so I had no clue what to do. I mean, how old was I in 87? I couldn't have been 15, 14,
You're do I squeeze it? Do I?
God,
in a movie theater too.
Just freaking giant cans though.
Were you guys all making out with your girlfriends at the theater?
No, I remember, and honestly, it's still one of my favorite movies to this day, and I can't imagine what you're going to say for that. But no, it's ironic because I love that movie, and the second memory I have to planes, trains, and automobiles is Jenny Lyons and her huge titties. It was just unbelievable.
Huge knockers. I can picture like 15-year-old Scott.
Oh, and she was the one that your mom would have warned you about. She had a little bit of a raspy voice for like, I don't know, 15, however old we were.
And she wasn't even smoking.
No, not at all. But she had that kind of, the raspy voice and the big boobs.
Wait a second.
I don't know.
You just went to your high school reunion.
Yeah, she did not go to my high school.
Oh,
No.
okay.
Yeah,
okay.
she was.
Now, aren't you curious to like find her on social and see what she looks like and just see if those knockers are still huge?
I did, yeah,
Because honestly, we went to school with this girl named was it Chantel?
Oh. You know, a Chantel has big ones.
Oh my God! So it was.
You don't get named Chantel without prophecy of your parents knowing you're going to have giant cans.
I'm trying to remember, but she was one of the first to develop. I kind of felt bad for her because it was definitely the topic of discussion all the time.
Oh, I know. Whoever gets it first is always the one that gets labeled.
Yes.
Well, not labeled, but noticed, and
and not only did she have huge tatales, but she was also very pretty. Had a very thin waist, so she was like a Barbie doll.
Okay.
Yes. Ironically, though, like a reddish hair. So this girl, though, she had these such huge boobs that I will never forget. That now I want to go back and I want to look on social. I've never even thought to look her up, but I want to go back and look on social and see if she still has like the most massive knockers, or maybe she got a breast reduction.
I don't know. It's amazing. I don't. It takes me to a place.
What?
Did your girlfriend? I don't know. This is a difference of the sexes now, because we can do this with the guys and the girls. I remember certain things when you said red hair. Mm-hmm. It took me to a place. Okay, I swear there are conversations that all guys have about. And this would have been in younger years, but this sort of information is like stored somewhere in your brain. And I want to know, do women do the same thing?
What?
Like, okay, I'll give you an example. I don't mean to offend anyone. I swear to God, this was, young boys all talk and then it gets locked away in the brain. Okay.
Yes.
You immediately said reddish hair. What goes into mind? Fire crotch and wild in bed. Okay, so you label people, right? And like, poor Jenny, who was, I remember she was very nice with her raspy voice and her big boobs. Uh-huh. And you always wonder, like, did she grow up to have a good life, or was this the girl that kind of grew up and now she's living in a trailer? She's got 4 kids from 5 dads.
That's what I'm saying.
I don't know.
I don't even know her. And
every short, small girl, pardon me again, is a spinner in a guy's mind.
Oh my God.
No, I'm serious. This is the way that young guys label, and we're not labeling in a mean way. This is like what a lot of, back in the day anyway. Do girls do this with guys?
No.
You don't do this at all. There's not one feature.
Not when we were younger. No, I don't think so.
So it comes later?
Well, I mean, like there was definitely like lustful things, lustful thoughts, but no, I think now, you know how there was always like the big hand theory and whatever.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Big hands, big feet.
Right. Yeah. So there's that, but no, we never, and maybe it was just my group. Like we didn't go automatically on our brain somewhere. It was like,
oh God, the male species is a horrible species. Then we're terrible.
Mine was more like I envisioned my life with them. Like what am I? Like I will never forget. I had the biggest crush on this guy named Jeff Yost, and I'm just dropping names like left and right.
Me too.
So Jeff Yost was like dreamy, and in my mind, like we were getting married. And have I looked him up? Yes, I have. And he looks like he is married, has kids, has a great life.
Good for Jeff.
Still looks like Gavin Rosdale. I'm like, okay, your wife is lucky.
Yeah.
Let's just go there. But, maybe he's a terrible person. I don't know. But anyway, no, I was the opposite. I'm like, oh, Alicia Yost has a nice ring to it.
That kind of rolls.
Yeah, right? So that's what
We're sorry, Mrs. Yost, if you find this podcast. She will not be moving in with it.
That's what we would do. And it would be like, my friend Jessica was really into this guy named Corey. Let's call him Corey Smith for this argument. Jessica Smith. Oh, yeah, that sounds really great.
Okay, so there is a tremendous difference in the sexes when it came to this.
Totally.
I am so sorry. I did not. And you know, if they were a cheerleader, oh God, look out. They could do things to you that you had no idea you could have done.
You know
These
what?
were all horrible things that young boys thought about.
And let me tell you something. I was always the quote unquote bigger girl almost my entire schooling. Okay.
They need loving too. That's what the boys used to say. I'm sorry. I'm
That's what
sorry.
I was wondering.
I'm sorry.
No,
I'm
that's
sorry.
exactly what I was wondering. I'm like, what did they say about me? I'm almost jealous that I didn't have the huge knockers that Chantel
I'm
had.
so sorry. That was a bad joke. I shouldn't
No,
have.
no, that's what I wanted to know.
That thought didn't come till the end of the
No.
bar night.
I was so curious. I don't think any guy that I'm not even lying. I don't think any guy I went to high school ever was like, ooh, what about Alicia? No, I don't think they were ever at like baseball practice and like, check her out.
All right. You know what though? I don't know that that's true. You might have, and I can relate this perfectly. Okay. So, and again, I swear
it's
to God.
okay, Scott, if I didn't have some, 10th grader pining after me.
But you might have, and I'll get to that because again, I was using the things that I just said. I was telling you what 90% plus of young boys do in a group of boys when they're together or with their friends. And this is the way. And, fortunately, I hope we all grow to be the better, representatives of the male species as we get older and do better things. But this was back in the day, right? This is how a lot of times we grew up, at least back in like the 80s and stuff like that.
Listen, you don't got to justify this to me.
Well, I know, but I just don't want you to think that I'm being terrible. Like, oh, this was. So here's the thing.
No, I wanted to be pined after now.
Here's where it might have happened. I'm going to take you back to before 6059 and I became, a thing and before we became a couple and did all that. Now, she was an avid listener to the show and actually contributed a number of things to the show over months. Remember, she brought different little gifts and things like that when we would talk about things, she was, she'd find these things, which is it's very much her character trait to do that. Don't think that was just because she wanted a fine piece of this.
She was luring you in for sure.
Well, that's what I'm getting at.
That's part of the game.
Okay, so I am so oblivious. Do you remember how you used to tease me about, remember the girl that said, well, I'll come over and wrap Christmas presents with you. And it wasn't 6059.
It wasn't?
No. And
I thought this whole time it was.
No, there was a couple of people that had texted to little side comments we would make around going into the holidays last year. I'm like, well, I got to get, if somebody wants to come over and wrap presents with me. Now I'm thinking totally innocent. I'm like, let's wrap presents, I suck at it. Okay.
Yeah,
and
right.
There were a few people that had texted the show. One of them in particular, I'm a single mother too. I have a couple kids. I'll come wrap presents with you.
I honestly thought that was 6059 the whole time.
No, that was not.
And she is a single mom.
Well, she
was.
Well, yeah. So it's really kind of funny because she's like, you don't know how many people were interested. And I'm like, no, nobody's interested in this.
Right.
There's nobody there. And you even teased me about it where you're like, oh, you're an item.
Yeah, I was like,
now?
no one's interested.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
You are right. And now no one was pining after you. No. But so I didn't know it. But I didn't know it. You guys knew it. You picked up signals from other people that were dropping hints.
Here's the difference though.
Okay.
Is that.
And I was oblivious.
That's when you're an adult. So when you're an adult, you grow and evolve so much where even if you have a fault, which I mean, obviously you have none, Scott.
Well, thank you.
Even if you have a fault or you might have a crooked nose or a gap in your teeth or a unibrow or whatever, even if you have a fault, as an adult, I don't care. And I think other adults just don't care. The difference is in middle school, you care. I think
appearances. It's so many people get affected by appearance at that age. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And I think that in 10th grade, I'm not even joking. And don't feel bad for me on this, but I'm not joking. I don't think anyone was ever pining after me. Ever.
But you see, that's what I'm saying. I was oblivious to it. You guys noticed it. She did, and you did, because I mean, we'd read texts on the show, and she'd be like, "Yeah,
I'd be like, this girl is laying it on thick."
Right," and it wasn't. It was apparently so. You might actually have had people. You just had no idea.
I'm gonna doubt it because, like I said, as an adult, yeah, of course they would be pining after you. As a 10th grader who was like the chunky girl. Although, I look, and not to take this too serious, I look at pictures now, I'm like, I thought I was chunky. What? I looked perfectly fine.
I'm sure.
That's
I'm
such
sure.
a little mind game.
Yeah, it is. It's a terrible mind game. It's a terrible age. That middle school age is tough for so many people.
Middle school, high school, I had a great, high school was fine. It was great. It was, high school is high school. I'm not trying to go back to high school, but it was fine. I just think it's funny when you're saying the whole thing about, the redhead and all of that stuff.
Well, and again, that's what, a 15-year-old boy and his friends, that were boys talked about.
Okay, so segue, you were talking about going to the movies with Jenny Lyons, right?
Yes.
Okay, so I have another thing.
I had to get another seat for her cans.
I have another thing that's movie related. So if you are, let's say you and 6059 are kidless, okay? Let's pretend that you guys don't have any kids between any of you.
Yeah. At all, period,
At
or
all.
just on a break from kids?
No, at all.
Okay.
At all.
All right.
So Despicable Me just came out in theaters recently. If you're listening, later on, that's just for time reference.
Yes.
But you can put any kid movie in there. It could be If, it could be Inside Out 2, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Is it weird for adults who don't have kids to go to the theater and see a kid movie?
Yes and no. Yes, for a lot of people. No, for that group that just can't get Disney out of their life. And I use that as an example. Like the adults that go to Disney with no kids.
But this isn't Despicable Me Pixar?
Well, yeah, no, it's actually DreamWorks, I think. So it's totally a different thing. But I'm using that as the kind of
launching pad
for it.
Okay.
I will tell you this. So let's go to the phase of my life, say the 90s. Mm-hmm. You have vivid memories of kids' movies from the 90s. The Lion King.
Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast.
Yes.
Little Mermaid.
I have never watched Aladdin start to finish, Beauty and the Beast start to finish, or Lion King start to finish. They were all in theaters at the time that I was a young guy. I mean, you got to figure I was, 20?
He was trying to touch Jenny Lyons' boobs then?
No, I mean, Jenny had moved on. Don't know where she went, but, but her boobs stayed. But,
Right.
There's that huge, for me anyway.
You were clubbing.
I was not into any kids' movies and stuff like that. Now, if it was a movie like, say, at the time we're talking, The Sixth Sense came out or whatever, those are the movies that we would go see.
I also think that you're right, but I also think that now it has changed so much that is my generation, the Beauty and the Beast, the Aladdin, all of that. So it is so accepted for adults to like that style, whether it's DreamWorks or Pixar or whatever, that it's so accepted. I really don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't think I would.
Well, it's not a big deal. Do what you want to do.
Right.
It might be I'm walking down the aisle with the kids to get our seats and look over and see,
me and
couple,
Zach, let's say.
It would be like, oh, that's interesting. Okay, well.
The only thing that I would say that I would want to do differently is I would choose that style of movie, but I would do it later on because, kids tend to get a little antsy during films or there might be some crying or something like that. So that would be something that I would still go see it in the theater to have the theater experience, eat the popcorn, eat the Raisinets, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think because we have now accepted it as a lifestyle and that like the other day I was listening to a podcast and they were talking about Inside Out 2. And
now, oddly, I do want to see that movie, but I saw the first one with the kids, so it's like, I'd like to see the second one now.
Definitely. But I mean, you have kids, but like for the female on the podcast, she was like, oh my gosh, same thing. She's like, I'm so excited for this movie. I loved the first one. I can't wait to see it in theaters. And I was like, oh, she doesn't have any kids. That's kind of weird. But then I guess it isn't because we've accepted kid movies as a lifestyle.
Yeah, and I think certain things stick with you. You know, it's not that I didn't go to kids' movies when I was a kid. I still remember seeing Bambi in the theater when I was really young with my mother. Not the first release of it in 1936, thank you.
Oh, okay.
But no, like, you know how Disney would re-release to theaters. They've been doing that forever. And I still remember seeing that and other, you know, movies. But, you know, come to think of it, we didn't have as many kids' movies. Okay, I was born in 1971.
Yeah.
All right. So you either got a re-release of an old Disney movie, i.e. Cinderella, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, Pinocchio, all the old classics would either be re-released to theaters on rare occasions. We did not have think about it. Shrek was one of those movies that really started a lot of regular kids movies because you went into Pixar coming out. Then you had like the Monsters Inc. So really, I want you to think about something. From about 1995 back, our movies were like The Sandlot or Bad News Bears and stuff like that. They weren't your kids' movies today,
right?
Or even Lion King. Those things weren't in existence yet. They were still the classics. I'm trying to think back to some of the earlier kids' movies, and I can't think of what was the one with the mouse?
Mickey.
Thivel. No. Thivel was the little fucker's name. What was Thivel in?
Oh, great.
That was late in high school.
I love this movie, too, because it's somewhere out there.
I just said Thivel, that little fucker. What movie was he in? I got to remind you, this Not For Air podcast is not for kids, okay? I just taught you what every 15-year-old boy was thinking about girls, and now I've called Thivel a little fucker.
What was that movie? Not Land Before Time. Not
Land Before Time. But that was a weird one that was out. That was like a kid's movie in our time.
I loved Thivel, too. I'm glad you're Googling
What movie was Thivel in? Not Falling Down. What? No, Thivel the mouse.
Thivel Goes West was one of them. I remember that. But there was another one.
Hang on.
If you can't get it, I can.
Animated, yes. God, what was the movie name? What movie has Thivel, not Thivel? Oh, An American Tail.
That's what it was called?
It was called An American Tail. That's it. Okay. What year did that turd come out?
It had to be 90.
Oh, 1986.
Oh, really?
It was Amblin Entertainment, 1986. So that was one of the rare movies that was really aimed at kids. I mean, you think about it, because now every summer has them, every single summer. And we also, I'm going to tell you something else too. We did not have superhero movies. We had Superman with Christopher Reeves. Obviously, this, I can relate this sort of to a kid's movie, but I wanted to think how times have changed so much, even from when I was real young in the 70s all the way through to when we got to about the 90s and 2000s. You had the Christopher Reeves Superman movies. There were no Spider-Man movies until the late 90s. You had no Marvel whatsoever. Right. There was no Thor and all this stuff until we obviously got to the mid-2000s.
That lived basically
in the hell did we go to the movies to see?
Right. Well, Tom Hanks movies.
Pretty much.
That lived in comics, though. And then there was some
remember, that was a subculture back in that time. You were not the overly popular.
Mainstream.
Right.
Yeah, because then they had the comic cartoons too. I don't know if you remember this. They had a Batman cartoon. Do you remember
they did.
this?
They had Super Friends on Saturday morning. Love that. That had that was pretty much all the DC characters. They were all in that. I love that. And we did get Transformers and G.I. Joe. Those were a couple shows that were on for kids. And then the girls had Strawberry Shortcake, My Little Pony, the original brand, and stuff like that.
Yes.
And I used to hate it as a kid. I'd be watching the set went like this. It was Transformers, G.I. Joe, and then frickin' Strawberry Shortcake came on, and I used to get so pissed. I'm like, why does there have to be a girls' cartoon?
Ruin my morning.
Yeah, right? This was actually in the afternoon in Buffalo. It used to be on. But
this conversation, you look so much like Gavin telling that story.
Oh, my God, really?
Yes, I can just see and hear his expressions talking about something like this. The way you, squinch your face, I'm like... This is Gavin, 1,000%.
Talking about Skibbity Toilet?
Yeah. Yes, I know.
Wow.
So,
Yeah.
the last thing, or we can save it for next week.
He really went everywhere here.
I know about the broken shaky toy. Do you want to save it for next week, or do you want to just...
Here's the thing. This is a conversation that's going to take a few minutes to get into.
Let's save it for
See
next
what I
week.
did there?
We're a half hour in. Let's save it for next week. So we'll talk about the broken shaky toy on the next podcast.
Okay, that's good. I really... Are you sure I'm okay? I wasn't offensive when I was describing what young boys would talk about, how they would just, what they would think of with girls when they were young. I'm just sharing what...
No, but I am kind of curious. Is it still how they think? I don't know.
No, but
because
the problem is,
that,
like I said, it takes up some a compartment in your brain, and unfortunately, because I don't know why we were all little sexist monsters when we were that age. Well, I do. It was hormones. But they're still there. The thoughts are still there. I don't think, we don't look at someone and immediately think that the way we might have back in the day. But if the boys are all sitting around having some beverages and it's a guy's night, there's a real good chance some of that might erupt from the volcano again.
I think of that show Big Mouth on Netflix, and it is an animated show about these, I think they're 6th graders, and their hormones raging, and how they each have hormone monsters and all of that. So, and how they talk, and they're supposed to be younger kids, right?
Yeah.
And like coming of age type thing. So I think, they probably do, because I think you're right. I think it's just almost like a natural human thing. Okay, maybe you wouldn't talk that way. There is an evolution to the way we speak and respecting women and all that. So I get why you're trying to say, is it okay? But I think there's also just something there's something human nature about if I see, oh my God, I saw a picture of Lenny Kravitz yesterday.
Jesus, he looks good.
Oh my God, did I get soggy in the basement?
Wow, and he's 60.
And I want to say this too. Okay, this is totally off topic, but on topic. So I think that it just is like our human nature, but not everyone is like that all the time, because I will say I went to Asheville with my 2 friends, and we were talking about, just like some sexual things that came up. And they both were like, yeah, we just don't really ever talk about that with like any other friends or anything like that. And I said,
boy, get Allie there and it all comes out.
Well, and that's the thing. And then I had my one girlfriend, Sarah, over yesterday, and we got into it. And I said this to my friends that I traveled to Asheville with. I said, me and my friend Sarah, we talk about everything. And so then I told them.
Now, there is the girl difference.
Yes.
Okay, because I do not get together with Terry or any of my guy friends. And now at 15, we all had these conversations and we were coming up with stuff and we were like, well, they're this because this, that, this. And I don't sit there and we don't have those conversations. We might make a joke about something, but there's no in-depth conversation. Whereas you guys analyze. So, well, you know what this plays into? And I'll give you one more thing. So why there's the old theory, men are always horny, always want sex. Men and women think about sex differently. I swear we've talked about this at least sometime over the past 18 years of the time that we've known each other.
Oh, I'm sure we have.
Maybe we haven't put it quite the way I'm going to put it like on the podcast, but this is not for air. This is not on the show. I am convinced women remember every second of a sexual encounter with a guy, whereas guys forget. We're programmed to forget, which is why we could go night after night and it's, oh yeah, I'm ready again. Whereas women are like, I remember every single move, every single everything, or damn close to that, if not. It may fade over time, but let's at least let it stick with either a couple reasons. The person you're with, you still remember everything, or a few people that may have wowed you, if you will, like you have very clear memories. You have a much better memory of every single moment of it. I'm really trying not to say even crasser the way I want to say it. Whereas as guys, it just sheds off. It's like that was awesome, but it sheds off. And we don't retain it the way you do. Does that make any sense? So you can analyze it now differently, where we're analyzing it, not even analyzing it. We're making comments that takes us back to being 15 years old. Like, well, I bet she could really, blah, blah, blah. And you guys are really into it. Like, oh, girl, he did something. I swear it hit my spleen.
Yeah. The memory is there, not for every time, but
probably way more vivid than the guys, which is why we keep coming back every day.
Yes. I think so. But you're right. There's like, if there was a big emotional connection, then I definitely remember that. Or if you're right. There are some certain key moments.
I would
with keeping this like as respectful even to my significant other.
Oh, yeah, but that's what I'm...
Because I don't want to necessarily talk about the exes so much.
No, but every girl has certain memories.
Right, and you're right. There is some key...
All I remember was Jenny Lyon's big boobs in a shirt. I never even saw him. Never saw him.
Never even did this is what I pictured.
Never did the horn honk, nothing.
No, I pictured you putting your hand or your arm around her back and then like it just resting right on the top like, yep.
Nope.
Felt that titty.
Nope. It was like if the hands brush at the armrest of the movie chair, I'm like, ooh, I'm scared now.
I'm scared of those sweater kittens.
Yeah. Oh, terrified. Terrible. Rawr. Now, as we wrap up, because this is a high note, we should end here.
Yes.
Somebody do a psychological study of the difference of memories of sex with men and women. I swear it would be a fascinating study to be like, if you put 100 men in a room and 100 women in a room, well, you'd have a big ass orgy. No, but you'd have, you know what I mean? Like, it'd be funny to see how the guys recall or don't versus the girls. Hence your conversation with Sarah, where you can, if you have your person or your group, that when you get into it, wow, you can go, well, I want to say knuckles deep so bad as a joke, but I won't.
I love this idea for a study. I think it would be a great study that I would read intensely.
Yes.
Definitely. I always love the mind of the different sexes and just how people think in these moments. And I think there's a lot of shared experiences. It might not be, obviously we're not sleeping with the same people, but I think that like Sarah and I...
Depends how big your town is.
Right. Sarah and I will talk about things and it's like, oh, yes, I relate. Oh, yes, I've had that. Or no, I've never, whatever it is.
Sure.
And so I think those shared experiences is also what connects Sarah and I together. So I would be curious to see this study.
I think it'd be really interesting. All right. On that note...
Yes.
Wow.
Right? Always so fast.
It does. That was a quick over half hour. Next week, well, we'll keep one thing in the sexual field. It is I'm dying to hear about the broken shaky. I'm dying to hear about the broken shaky toy.
But don't get hung up on that, because when you guys come back next week, it really isn't necessarily about that. That plays into it.
That's the prop of the story?
That's the prop of the story. That's not the core of what it is.
Okay. All
right.
Okay.
So that'll be next week. We'll see ya.
Bye.
Well, that was fun. Wasn't that fun? That was fun. Do us a favor, will you? Subscribe. Share the Scott and Allie Not For Air podcast. Touch our buttons. We know you want to.